Hey guys, Professor here, and today we're going to talk about augmenting in New Genesis. So what that is, how you do it, and why you should. So augmenting is basically like enchanting your weapons and armor. So as you can see here on my Kaiser Katana, I have 5 different augments or enchantments. So each of these give different bonuses that can include damage, HP, damage resistance, and more. All of these augments come from things called Augment Capsules. So things such as like the stamina 3 here. So this one gives HP plus 15 if I were to put it onto one of my weapons or armor here. And then like there's another one like this where it's a Didal Soul 3, which can give me photon power or the mana for New Genesis, and then melee weapon potency or extra melee damage. So as you may already be able to tell, this is a great way to kind of stylize your own playstyle. So if you want it to be tanky, you can. If you want to have high damage, you can do that as well, or be somewhere in the middle. What is the actual process of taking these and putting it onto your different pieces of gear? Well, it's actually quite simple. You just need to find any NPC that has the Item Lab Enhancement Technician above their name. The first one you can find in Central City is right next to the big tower on the right-hand side. And then you just talk to them and then go to add augments. So then you'll be brought to this menu where you have all of your different pieces of gear in your inventory. So just select whatever one you want to put these augments on, and then you'll be brought to any of the augments you have in your inventory. But if you want to, you can also select from your different storages as well. So I can click on material storage here, and it'll show all my augments in that. But now I can start selecting any capsules that I have to affix onto this Prim Katana. So let's say I want to put stamina 1, which gives me 5 HP. So I select that once, and then it shows right here that I have a 10% chance of putting it onto this piece of gear. But that's too low for me. So what I'm going to do is actually put even more of the stamina 1 to increase my chances. So this doesn't actually give me more and more HP, it just helps with that chance of putting it onto this weapon. But you can put up to 10 onto something and give it up to 100% chance. But for certain augments, this is not the case. So what I mean is that each augment has this success rate chance. So the stamina 1 has 10% for every capsule that I put in. So that's why it says 100% here. But let's say I go to something else that has a lower chance, like this Dull Soul 3. This only has an 8% chance for every one that I put in. But like I said, you can only put up to 10 in there, so it can only go up to an 80% chance by default. So there is a little bit of a risk involved when you're trying to put on higher tier augments. But let's actually confirm what we have here now. Do note that it will cost a little bit of a setup, but it isn't too much. So let's press confirm, and you get brought to the augment selection screen. So here you just choose whatever augments that you want to try to slap onto your weapon that you selected, and then do start affix augment. So here you can put on the success boosters. So these will actually improve your chances even further if you have them. So if I put on this like 5%, then I'll get an increased 5% across the board. So this Dull Soul 3, instead of an 80% chance, will now have an 85% chance. There are even higher boosters, so I could use a 20% chance even to make it guaranteed. But for now, let's not use any of these boosters and just see if it sticks. So then I'll just press yes, and then it'll start doing this little animation, and it looks like both were successful. So now when we look at this Prim Katana, we can see that the Stamina 1 and the Dull Soul 3 are on there. So whenever I equip this weapon, I'll get the said bonuses from those. Now let's talk about some of the limitations when it comes to this augmenting system. So as you can see here on this Prim Katana, I only have the 2 slots, but if you remember from earlier, this Kaiser Katana has 5 total slots. So the reason for that is because this katana is plus 50. So the more you enhance your weapon or armor, the more slots you get. So at plus 20, you get this 3rd slot, at plus 40, you get the 4th slot, and at plus 50, you get this final 5th slot. In the future, there'll be up to 8 slots, and I imagine enhancements up to plus 80. But now for the next thing, what if you want to replace one of the augments on your weapons? Well, you can actually do that quite easily by doing the same exact thing. So if I go to my storage here, and say I wanted to put on a Might 2 instead of the Stamina 1, so then I can select that. Well, let's say I only have 1, so I got that 10% chance, but I just really want to try to get it on there. So then I can confirm, and then as you can see here, the Stamina 1 is still selected, so it's in here. But if I just deselect it and then click on the Might 2, then it will start to try to replace it. and then it'll tell you that this stamina 1 augment will vanish if you proceed, so then you can do yes, and then you can try to put it on there. Just keep in mind that if this, say, might fails, then you'll no longer have the stamina 1 and you won't get the might 2. Let's see if I get lucky here. And it looks like I did, surprisingly. Too bad I don't have that luck normally, but like I said, if it failed, then you would just end up with a blank slot. Now there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is the categories of augments. So I have currently a dull soul 3 on there. Let's say I wanted to try to put another soul on there. So let's say alt soul 1. So I wanted the dull soul and the alt soul. Well, unfortunately, you can't do that because they are in the same category. So if I unclick the might here and click on the alt soul, it'll just start replacing the dull soul and won't let me do that. This is the case for all of the augments in the game. They have their own category. Thankfully though, there is a list online on the Arx Visiphone website that lists all of these augments out along with their categories. The only category that doesn't follow this rule is the basic ones. You can actually put on multiple of these different types. But also, since we're here already, let's talk about how we get these Augment Capsules. Well, essentially, doing any of the activities or killing any enemies in the game can give you some, but they're all very specific. So they come from certain enemies in different zones, killing certain bosses during different activities, etc. This whole page kind of details that out. If you guys want to use this as a resource, I'll link it down in the description below. Back to the game though, there's actually a way to upgrade your augments or combine them into new ones, and that's using another tab at the same NPC called Exchange Enhancement Materials, and then you go to the Augment Capsule tab. So once here, you can see a long list of what you can make and what they do, and also what they require. So most of them require some combination of other augments and also some minerals, such as like photon quartz, tetrasite, dulamite, etc. But there are also some that give you options, such as where it says target capsule. So if I want to make this stamina 3, I click here, and then it'll tell me that I need to use target capsule 1s and 10 of those, or 4 target capsule 2s. So let's click on the 2 here and then go to my augments. So then I can exchange for any of these type 2 augments to make this stamina 3. So let's say I want to put in 2 technique 2s and 2 precision 2s, and then I can press confirm to make this capsule. Then once you do that, it should go directly in your inventory. But there are also a couple alternative ways to get augments. One way is by doing the mission pass through dailies and weeklies to where you can earn these tiers. And then on the bottom track here, you can get a whole bunch, and including better ones near the end. And then you can also use the personal shop or the player market to spend your meseta to get some capsules. So here you just go to the NPC and then do a product search. And then you can search up any capsule that you want that's in the game, but as long as you use an exact name. You can't use anything partial, otherwise it won't work. And then there's one last extra tip here for those of you that stayed this long. If you go to any item trader in a city and talk to them, and then go to the Item Exchange tab, you can actually get your hands on some augmentation success rate boosters that we talked about near the beginning. So if you use 10 gold prim swords, you can get 1 of these. Just keep in mind that you are limited to 3 per week. There's also one other item in here involving augmenting, and that is the Augment Item Protection. So this takes either 40 AC items or 40 SG items, so it can be quite expensive, and you can only get like 1 per month. But this is where if you fail augmenting when you use this, then it will refund you the augments back, but it will consume this item. So this is great to use on very, very expensive augments, but just keep in mind if you're augmenting multiple capsules onto a thing at the same time while using this, even if just one fails but the rest succeeds, all of it gets refunded and none of the augments stick onto the piece of gear. That's pretty much everything involving augmenting. If you guys want any recommendations for what to use augment-wise, just let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.